Welcome back to Peace in the Storm, Faith in the Uncertainty. If you've been listening to this series, then you already know peace isn't something that we find once everything calms down. It's something we learn to hold on to while the wind is still blowing, while the fire is still raging, while everything in us wants to run. We've walked through peace in sorrow, betrayal, waiting, sickness, and shame. And today, we step into a different kind of storm, one that doesn't roar with thunder, but with flames. Because sometimes peace isn't what keeps you out of the fire, it's what keeps you standing right inside of it. The story of Shadrach, Meshack, and Abednego begins long before the fire ever started. They were exiles, taken from their homes, stripped of their names, living under a system that wanted to erase who they were and what they believed. And yet, they held on. They served faithfully in Babylon. They did the work. They lived with integrity. But one day, their faith collided with the world's demand for compromise. The king built a golden image, a monument to his power, and he said, "When the music plays, bow down." And the crowd did what crowds often do. They followed the sound and they bowed. Everyone bowed. People bent their spines to comply or to fit in. I invite you to learn more about being authentic in the face of adversity in my prior episode, Authenticity Has No Comparison. Except three. Three chose to stand and not to bend or bow. They didn't refuse because they wanted attention, impact over applause. They refused because they already belonged to someone else, purpose over podium. Their peace wasn't rebellion, it was reverence. And when the king's rage burned hotter than the furnace, they didn't flinch. They didn't defend themselves. They didn't explain. They didn't panic or beg. They simply said, "Our God can deliver us from the fire, but even if he doesn't, we will not bow." That even if kind of faith is rare. It's the kind that stands still while the ground beneath you shakes. I discussed this deeper in my prior episode, Have the Audacity to Be Misunderstood, where courage becomes necessary. It's the kind of peace that doesn't wait for rescue. It's peace that rests in who God is, not what he does. So they were thrown in it. They were bound, cast into the very flames meant to destroy them. And the fire was so hot that the heat consumed the soldiers who carried them up. But the king, he leaned forward, and his voice trembled as he said, "Did we not throw 3 men into the fire? But I see 4 walking, unbound, and the 4th looks like the Son of God." The miracle wasn't that they didn't burn. The miracle was that God showed up inside the fire, because peace isn't always protection from the flame. It's the presence that finds you in it. When the men walked out, everyone saw it. Their robes were not scorched. Their hair was not singed. And scripture says something beautiful. There was no smell of smoke on them. That's the kind of peace God gives you. You come out of seasons that should have ruined you, but there's no bitterness. There's no residue, no smell of what you've survived. You carry peace instead of pain. Maybe your fire isn't a furnace. Maybe it's the heat of diagnosis, a heartbreak, a betrayal. Maybe it's the quiet ache of uncertainty or the tension of standing alone when no one else understands your conviction. Whatever your fire looks like, I want you to know you're not in it alone. He's still the 4th man, still walking through the flames, still whispering peace where fear once lived. Peace in the fire doesn't always mean escape. Sometimes it simply means endurance. It means walking through the heat with your eyes fixed on the one who promised never to leave you there alone. And when you come through, because I'm walking proof, you will come through. When you come through, you'll realize what they did, that the same fire they tried to consume you with became the very place where God revealed himself to you. Peace doesn't mean the fire won't come. It just simply means you won't face it without good company. Because the God who stood with Shadrach, Meshack, and Abednego still stands with you. So whatever you're walking through, the pressure, the heat, the fear, remember this: you might be surrounded by fire, but you are also surrounded by God. Pull up a chair, the table is set. And as we continue through peace in the storm, faith in the uncertainty, may you find courage in the middle of your flames and peace that holds steady even when the fire does not. If this episode